Using life insurance for long-term care coverage. Let me start by saying I'm a fan. I am a fan of this premise, absolutely, and I'll get to why. What I'm not a fan of is the sales agents who promote this stuff. Oh, for the love of the good Lord, people, can you just stop with their, these sales agents, they learn to sell the sizzle. And look, if you're following that strategy, that is old school sales techniques, my friends. Sell the sizzle, sell the sizzle. You gotta get over this. So I'm watching this video on I'm not even gonna go in. It's embarrassingly, it's just embarrassing. I'm sitting there thinking, oh. So first and foremost, if someone says to you, my dear friend from YouTube, if I could show you a way to do XYZ, would you be interested? Please, please just run for the hills. That I cannot tell you how many sales trainings I sat through where people say, if I could show you a way, I mean, they're never going to say, if I could show you a way how to freaking make $1 million tomorrow, would you be interested? Everyone's going to say yes. No one's going to say no. It's so I could never bring myself to do that kind of stuff. It was so trite. It's embarrassingly patronizing. If I could show you a way, they're never going to say, if I could show you a way where you're like, yeah, I don't think I'd be interested in that. They're always going to say, if I could show you a way where you would be interested in it. The minute that comes out of someone's mouth, please run, because they're a insurance trained agent. That's all there is to it, because that is the way insurance agents train. I don't know where that comes from, but they've been talking about that for years. I hate it. Part two. So I'm watching this guy. He says he's taking $100,000 from a CD that a 64-year-old woman in good health has. And she's going to park into this life insurance with a long-term care rider, which, again, I like the premise of it. But so he's saying the $100,000 in a CD or in the money market is paying 1%. So net of 1% because of tax, so that's $1,000 of interest. But because she's paying 35 cents to Uncle Sam, she's only netting $650. I'm like, freaking... Stop with that crap, man. No one's paying freaking $350 to Uncle Sam on $1,000 of interest that they're getting in the bank. No one. I mean, there are some people. The vast majority of us are not. The vast. I mean, it's insane how many people are not paying that. A. Part two is insane because the people that you're trying to solicit for this business, if they were paying $350 in interest, taxable interest to Uncle Sam, the taxes on the interest to Uncle Sam, they wouldn't be freaking buying this kind of policy. They're self-insuring because they're wealthy. They're way wealthy, way more wealthy than you sitting in their freaking kitchen table trying to solicit them a $100,000 life insurance policy with long-term care rider. It infuriates me. So, A, you're not paying $350 in taxes to Uncle Sam on $1,000 of interest. You're not. Part two of this, which infuriates me, let me just pick up old Pablo's little dookie here. My wife hates when I use that term dookie. Ooh, it stinks. She said, that's not very professional. Yeah, this channel is nothing. It's not professional. This is all professionalism. What other YouTube channel do you get to listen to somebody as he's picking up a dookie while he's talking about life insurance? That is high class right there. All right, let me just drop this for the time being. We'll come back and pick it up when we come back around, buddy. Good job. Good job, Pablo. Look at that boy. Want to say hi to the camera? Hi, everybody. Ah, there he is. That's old Pablo. He's saying, who is that handsome devil? That's you. All right, so part two of this. The guy's freaking, it's insane. He's sitting there saying, okay, so now $100,000 into a life insurance policy with a long-term care rider will give you $150,000 of life insurance, all right? And it'll give you, I think he said, $300,000 of long-term care. And again, I like it. I like the promise. I do. I'm a fan. Now, you got to get underwritten. That means you can't be about to keel over or nothing like that. You have to go through underwriting. So it's not the same as just buying a CD at the bank. The bank doesn't care about your life expectancy on a CD. They don't care. But anyway, let's just say this lady, 64-year-old lady in good health, gets underwritten. That's preferred. Now, preferred is not the best. Preferred is the second best. So I think that makes sense. Now, in this day and age, I don't know if you have $100,000 that you're putting into a policy that only gives you $150,000 life insurance, that's literally just a $50,000 life insurance policy. So I'm not sure the strict guidelines of underwriting for life insurance there, because the bank or the insurance company is only on the hook for $50,000. That's not a big risk to them. For a $100,000 lump sum, that's not a big risk. So I imagine on the life insurance underwriting, they're not very stringent. Now they are on the hook. So again, they're leveraging. You put $100,000 in there, you get $300,000 of long-term care. All right, so they're leveraging the long-term care as a 3-to-1. All right, so you're getting $3 for every $1 you put in. That's a pretty significant leverage right there. So imagine they're saying we'll probably underwrite you differently, more stringent for the long-term care. I don't know that to be true, but if I would think that, because that's more risk to them. They're putting, they have $200,000 at risk for long-term care for your $100,000, whereas the life insurance, they only have $50,000 at risk for your $100,000. Hope that makes sense. So there's more risk, there's more stringency on their underwriting. All right, so we'll just assume that the underwriting went through. And again, I don't know how it works anymore. All right, so now you have $300,000 long-term care. All right. So you put in $100,000, you got $300,000 total. You've doubled, or I don't even know what it would be. You've doubled or tripled. That's what you've tripled your leverage on long-term care. All right. So the guy he says, how long would it take? The absurdity for that $650 of interest. Remember, you're only making $650 after taxes on your 1% that you're earning at the bank account. How long would that take for that $650 to provide you $300,000, to get you $300,000 of cash in which you could have long-term care coverage? And I'm sitting there thinking, dude, this is insane. So he's totally discounting the $100,000 you started with. He's totally discounting that. He's saying, yes, it would take a long. Now, actually, no, I think it might have been $400. I can't remember, but $300,000 is the long-term care. So he's saying, okay, you're only getting a net of interest after taxes of $650. How long would it take you for that $650 to invest each and every year to provide you $300,000 of long-term care coverage? It'd take a long time. Never, in fact. And I'm sitting there thinking about what happened to the $100,000. That just goes away? I mean, what? I said, do people fall for this? Because that $100,000 is something happened to it. So you're saying, how long would it take for that $650 to grow to give you the $300,000 of long-term care coverage, which you're getting right out of the gate? I'm thinking, but that doesn't take into consideration. You still have $100,000. What happened to that $100,000? It didn't just go away. It's still there. So if you think about, we'll just do a simple 7.2% rate of return. So this lady's 64 years old. Or use the rule of 72. 64 years old. So by the time she's 84, if she's able to get 7.2% a year in earnings, she'd have $400,000 by the time she's 84. Because 7.2% a year, you divide that by 70 into 72, that means she's doubling her money every 10 years. So in 20 years, she'd have $400,000, which is more than what the long-term care guy is trying to sell us. And yet he's saying it doesn't work like that. It only works, you get that $650 is what she has to invest each and every year. It's the whole thing. I sit there, how fraudulent or idiotic, or I don't even know what it is. How idiotic do you have to be to make that the sales pitch? And here's a problem with these life insurance guys. They're their own worst enemy. Because what happens is people, I hope so, or at least people watching this channel, can see through this. Like, you're sitting there thinking, dude, you have a product that you don't need to oversell. This is the problem with salespeople, is they oversell and underdeliver, overpromise and underdeliver. What you need to do in real sales is you need to start with the negatives. Here's the problem with this product. Here's why I don't like it, but here's why I think you should get it anyway. The minute you start using, or this guy says, a win-win, win for you, win for, just don't do that. What you do is you say, look, grandma, 64-year-old grandma, you might lose out relative to the market. You might not have $400,000 20 years from now. This is how you sell it, all right? It's simple. You got $100,000 sitting in CDs right now. You're worried about long-term care. No, I'm not all that worried about it, but I get it. You are. I get it. And you don't want to sell it. You don't want to have to liquidate or sell your house because of long-term care. You're also not happy with the interest rates you're getting. So let's just take $100,000. Here's what I would do. Here's a suggestion for you. Take $100,000. We'll assume you can get underwritten. Right out of the gate, you have $300,000 long-term care coverage. So we know for a fact, if you need long-term care coverage, you'll have $300,000. On top of that, if you don't need long-term care coverage, we know for a fact that your heirs will get $150,000 of death benefit when you die. So we know your $100,000 will at least grow to $150,000. Not a huge amount, I get you, but it's better than nothing. And on top of that, you have an immediate protection for $300,000 long-term care. Immediate. Let's say down the road you are destitute and you need your money back. Well, you get your money back. Yeah, it's not going to grow. You'll get $100,000 back. You won't get any benefit of it whatsoever, but it's there. So you're having three things covered. Not the best at any of them because you're not getting the greatest return possibly. You're not getting that's pretty good long-term care coverage, but as the years go by, there is no inflated adjustment or anything like that. So you're stuck at $300,000. And then on top of that, you're not getting the greatest return. You're not getting the greatest long-term care benefit over the long term. And on top of that, the death benefit isn't huge relative to the $100,000 you're dumping in there. But you have all three bases covered. You know your kids are going to get something back. You know that you have a long-term care coverage for a significant amount of money, by the way. I mean, $300,000. So let's just say you got 2 years, and I can't do it off the top, but let's say 30 months, that's 2.5 years. 30 months at $300,000, that's it's $10,000 a month, right? Yeah, $10,000 a month. So you got 10,000, I think. So you got $300,000 over 30 months, that's $10,000 a month, all right? So you got a pretty significant amount of money for long-term care. It might not be enough, probably will be more than adequate, most likely. You can't cover every single risk out there. And on top of that, you got money, if you don't use it, coming back to the kids at $150,000, which is leveraged up a little bit. I mean, you get 50 cents leverage for every dollar you put in. So you got all bases covered, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. I mean, how wonderful of a policy is that? Well, if the lady who you're trying to sell it to says, I have this question, that question, or I don't like this, I don't like that, then that's fine. That's what you need to know. But you go in there and say, that's what I think you should do. What do you think? She says, I'm not a big fan of this. Okay, that's fine. We got to figure out a different plan. If you can't stay awake at night, if you can't sleep at night because you're worried about this, well, obviously this is something we got to contend with. How are we going to contend with this? Well, I'm thinking, I could dump that $100,000 into Wellington and outperform what I'm getting from doing this life insurance product. And you're probably right. It probably will. But in the interim, you only have $100,000 of long-term care coverage, and that $100,000 could drop 33%, like what happened in 2007 to 2008. So now you're sitting on $67,000. Is that adequate? You're like, see what I'm saying? There's always a risk to everything. So even though it's not a perfect AAA for the long-term care rider on a life insurance, it's certainly better than having nothing if that's a concern. Now, you might have a different, where are you going, Bubs? Well, there's all kinds, or you might say, I like having the liquidity. I don't want to get under it. I might not be able to get approved. All these things are absolutely true. But for a sales guy to go in there and pretend like none of these things exist, and we just sell the sizzle, that is so 1925 Napoleon Hill stuff. Oh gosh. There's another guy I read, you can't teach a fish to ride a bicycle at a seminar or something like that. I can't remember what it was. And I forgot the guy's name. But this is the old school life insurance tactics that used to work back in the day before information was readily available for free. And I can't believe life insurance agents are still using this. Man, I'll never forget, I had a guy in my office one time. And well, not just one, multiple. If I could show you a way to show your clients, which I was like, and I remember when I was that first union bank, I'll never forget this. We had two guys come to the office as wholesalers to try to sell us on their annuity products. It was so, they're frumpy, they're just, and they just sit there and they draw the triple tax benefit of deferred annuities, blah, 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 blah. If I could show you, I was like, I hated it. I hated it back then. I hate it now. I hate that stuff. I'm just like, man, just be real. Oh man, some weird deer got the weirdest, that's yucky. Come on, buddy. Deer got some weird looking poop. Look at that high class, isn't it? So how do you go about this? That's the thing. If there's an insurance agent that can sell you stuff from your perspective as opposed to his. See, you always got to remember, a lot of insurance products, when I was in the business, you got paid 63% of first year premium, all right? I don't know if I'm sure that's still the case for many of them, because that's the way it's been for many, many years. So the issue with that is 63% of the first year premium. If I could sell you something that costs you $5,000 a year, that's 63% of the first year premium, whatever that is, $3,000. But if I could sell you something for $100,000, where it's just a one-time lump-in payment, it's not going to be $63,000 because they'll amortize it over some amount. I don't know how they do it, but trust me, you get paid a nice amount. I think I sold one of these kind of policies from Lincoln Money Guard, the same concept. It's $50,000 on him, $50,000 on her. The guy retired from Merck. The good people, I liked them, and I just told them, they were worried about long-term care, no kids, just a good couple. And we did this exactly what I just said. We took $50,000 for each of them, put it in a side account. They had $133,000 of death benefit, and I think they had $266,000 of long-term care. Now that was, 15 years ago. And I'm proud of that sale, but I think I got paid $7,000 on that. When I did my commission run, when I was at Legg Mason Smith Barney, I remember I got $7,000. That was gross. So the broker dealer, in this case Legg Mason Smith Barney, got 65%. I got 35% of that. So I netted like $3,000. I can't remember if that was each. I can't remember, but I had a pretty good paycheck that time. I was very, very pleased with that for sure. But so if you could do that once a month, you're in a pretty good place, especially if you can get them to do. There you go, good boy. Especially if you can do more than $100,000, if that makes sense, because that's how you get paid, and that's why people don't sell term insurance very often. It's interesting on the RIA world, the fiduciary advisors, the fee-only advisors, not the fee-based, the fee-only. They only sell term insurance, and they don't even sell it. They send that out. And the reason they do that is because they don't get paid on it, because they can't get paid commissions to hold themselves as fee-only. They can't. So because they can't get paid commissions, and because commissions are the only way to buy life insurance if through a broker or advisor, they don't even recommend it. It's like they'll recommend term and term only because they don't get paid and term's cheap. And I don't have any qualm with that, but they don't ever sell it because they can't hold yourself as a fee only advisor if you're going to get commissions. Anyway, so what they'll do is they'll say everyone should buy term. No one should buy a permanent life insurance. It's the way the compensation is structured. Is that true, though? Is that truly a benefit to their client? The answer is no. Sometimes universal life, sometimes whole life insurance are the way to go. Certainly cash value life insurance with long-term care rider is the way to go, as we're talking about here. But a lot of these agents or advisors who are fiduciaries, because they don't get paid, say, no, forget that, just buy term, go to USAA, Navy Federal, buy some term and be done with it. And then you have other guys who are broker-dealer related. They're fee-based. Fee-based means they charge an asset under management fee for investments, but they also get paid commission through selling of annuities and life insurance. So they'll say they're fee-based, but they can also get paid on the sales of other products for a commission. And they cannot hold themselves out as fiduciaries because of that. Now that's the best way to go, because believe it or not, sometimes selling something for a commission makes sense. It really does. And so to handcuff yourself and say, I am fee only all the time, as Rex Kwon Do would say from Napoleon Dynamite, no more traveling alone, you're with a buddy system now, oh, all the time. Rex Kwon Do, classic character of all movies. Well, so those guys get compensated for either product. Now the issue here though is that if they get compensated more for you putting more into a product, will they have an incentive to encourage you to put more in the product? The answer is unequivocally yes. There's always incentives for everybody. There's an incentive for a fiduciary not to sell your product because they don't get paid. There's an incentive for a salesman who's fee-based to sell your product because they get paid. It's just it's not rocket science here. But anyway, all right, well, I thought you might find that of interest. I am a fan of long-term care riders on life insurance. I am something to look at. Who sells that? I just don't know. I don't know. That's the drawback. So if you have some suggestions, my friends out there, and you've been following along this whole time, let us know, would you please? All right, we'll see you. Let's get back to Pablo here. Come on, bud.